My heart pounded like a war drum as I stood at the edge of a roaring waterfall on our first anniversary, expecting a day of celebration and tender memories. Instead, in a moment that would forever redefine my world, my husband, Mark, pushed me violently into the icy plunge pool below. As I tumbled through the crashing water, his cold voice echoed, "This will wash away your weakness." Those words, so callous and cruel, shattered the promises we'd made. In that instant, the love and trust one had built with him dissolved into shock, betrayal, and a fierce determination to reclaim my dignity, even if it meant facing the darkness of our broken past. I had always thought our love was invincible. We met in college during a time when life was full of hope and endless possibilities. Mark's charm, ambition, and deep-seated confidence had swept me off my feet. I remember our first date vividly, a long walk beneath a canopy of autumn leaves, the world awash in warm hues, as we shared dreams of building a life together. When we married, it seemed that our union was destined to withstand any challenge. Our first anniversary was meant to be a celebration of that enduring love, a symbolic reaffirmation of our promises. I had planned every detail of our day with care, a surprise trip to a secluded waterfall known only to a few locals, a place I had always dreamed of visiting as a couple. I envisioned us standing together under the spray of nature's grandeur, toasting to our future with sparkling wine in hand. Instead, the day turned into a nightmare that forced me to confront a truth I had long feared, that the man I loved was capable of unspeakable cruelty. That morning, I awoke with a radiant glow, feeling excited and cherished as I prepared for our special day. I had spent weeks organizing every detail, researching the perfect spot where the waterfall cascaded into a crystal-clear pool, its mist mingling with the crisp mountain air. I arrived at our chosen destination early, enveloped by the serene beauty of nature, the gentle hum of water, the rustle of wind in the pines, and a sky that promised endless possibility. I was lost in reverie, savoring the quiet moments before Mark's arrival, when suddenly the unexpected happened. Mark arrived with a deceptive calmness, his eyes betraying nothing of the storm that was to come. We exchanged a few brief words, a casual greeting, a half-hearted smile, before he led me along a narrow, winding path toward the waterfall. I was excited, not suspecting that this day, which had begun with such promise, would soon turn into a moment of unspeakable violation. When we reached the base of the waterfall, the air was filled with the thunderous roar of water crashing down. I turned to him expectantly, hoping for a shared moment of wonder, but instead I saw a cold, calculating glint in his eyes. Without warning, Mark's demeanor shifted. His hand, which had once been so tender when holding mine, now lashed out. In a single brutal motion he pushed me toward the edge. I flailed, my heart pounding in terror as I lost my balance and tumbled into the churning water below. The cold shock of the plunge was nothing compared to the burning humiliation that surged through me as I heard his voice call out, "This will wash away your weakness." I struggled to regain my footing as the current pulled me away from the rocky edge. In those agonizing moments, every memory of our shared past, the whispered promises, the gentle laughter, the dreams of a future built together, crumbled into nothingness. I emerged from the water gasping for air, my body trembling with shock and my face stinging from the icy water mixed with the bitter sting of betrayal. I stood on the slippery rocks, soaked and disoriented, as Mark's figure receded into the mist. My mind raced, struggling to comprehend how the man I had loved could inflict such cruelty on a day meant for celebration. I felt a powerful mix of emotions, anger, sorrow, and a dawning realization that my life was about to change irrevocably. 4 hours after that horrific moment, I sat alone by the waterfall, the rhythmic sound of cascading water a cruel counterpoint to the silence of my shattered heart. I replayed the events over and over, questioning every moment leading up to that fateful push. Had I done something wrong? Was there a sign I had missed? The realization was unbearable. I had trusted him completely, and in return he had exposed a side of himself that I never knew existed, a side filled with anger, cruelty, and a callous disregard for my well-being. Returning home was a blur of numbness and despair. The familiar walls of our apartment, once a sanctuary of love and shared dreams, now felt like a prison of betrayal. I sat in the darkened living room, the only sound the distant hum of traffic outside, as tears streamed down my face. I wondered how I could ever reconcile the image of the caring man I had married with the monster who had just pushed me into a freezing waterfall on our anniversary. The shock was compounded by the fact that our anniversary was meant to be a celebration, a day when we would reaffirm our commitment to one another. Instead, it had become a turning point, a moment of irreversible change. In the days that followed, I withdrew from everyone. Friends called, offering words of comfort and urging me to seek help, but I felt too raw, too betrayed to engage. I avoided the mirror, unable to face the reflection of a woman marked by violence and heartbreak. The memory of that moment became a constant echo in my mind, a bitter reminder of the vulnerability that comes from loving someone with all your heart. I began to question everything, my choices, my trust, and even my own self-worth. I had sacrificed so much, investing my love and energy into building a future together, only to have it ripped away in a single violent act. I sought solace in therapy, where Dr. Simmons, a compassionate counselor, helped me navigate the labyrinth of emotions that now dominated my days. "What you experienced is not your fault," she reassured me during our sessions. "You trusted someone you believed loved you, and it's okay to feel hurt, angry, and betrayed. But remember, you have the strength to reclaim your life." Her words, though gentle, sparked a small ember of hope within me, a hope that I could, in time, rebuild not only my shattered heart but also my sense of self. As weeks turned into months, I slowly began to reassemble the pieces of my life. I started by taking small steps, walking in the park, reconnecting with a friend or two, and even engaging in activities that I had once enjoyed. I returned to my passion for painting, setting up a small studio in a corner of my apartment, where I could express the tumult of emotions through color and form. Each brushstroke became an act of defiance, a declaration that I would not be defined by this moment of cruelty. In the midst of my healing, I also confronted the deeper issues in my marriage. I realized that there had been signs of tension between Mark and me long before that fateful anniversary. He had grown increasingly distant, his temper more volatile, and his need for control more pronounced. I remembered the times he had dismissed my opinions about our future, the subtle remarks that suggested I was too weak to handle real responsibilities. In hindsight, those moments now coalesced into a pattern of behavior, a gradual erosion of the love and respect that had once bound us. I began to see that his violent act was not an isolated incident, but the culmination of years of suppressed anger and unmet expectations. The realization was painful, yet it was also liberating. I no longer felt the obligation to cling to a relationship that had become toxic, a relationship where my voice was silenced by fear. I made the difficult decision to file for divorce. With the support of Dr. Simmons, my friends, and a dedicated attorney, Ms. Rodriguez, I began the process of legally ending our marriage. Every step of the legal proceedings was a painful reminder of the betrayal I had suffered, yet it was also a step toward reclaiming my independence. In court, I recounted the events of that day in meticulous detail, the shock, the pain, the utter betrayal, and I saw that my testimony resonated with the judge. The courtroom was a stark, cold place, but it provided me with the validation that I had been yearning for. When the judge granted me a temporary restraining order and awarded me custody of our shared assets, I felt a bittersweet sense of victory. It was a legal acknowledgement that I was not a victim to be dismissed, but a person with rights and dignity. The divorce proceedings were long and fraught with emotional turmoil. Mark's lawyer tried to argue that his actions were a momentary lapse, a mistake born of stress and not indicative of his true character. But the evidence, the bruises, the witness testimonies, the cold recording of his callous words, spoke for itself. The judge's final ruling left me with the legal freedom to rebuild my life, while Mark was ordered to attend anger management counseling and was restricted from contact with me. It was not the end of my pain, but it was a crucial step toward a future where I was safe and in control. After the court hearings, I focused on rebuilding my life both emotionally and practically. I moved into a new apartment, a small, bright space filled with fresh paint and the promise of new beginnings. I changed my phone number, updated my social media profiles, and slowly began to let go of the memories that had once haunted every corner of my life. I embraced the support of my friends, who rallied around me with unwavering love and encouragement. They helped me see that I was not defined by the violence I had endured, but by the courage with which I had chosen to stand up for myself. One day, as I was walking through the park on a crisp fall afternoon, I felt a quiet determination settle over me. The vibrant colors of the changing leaves reminded me that transformation is natural, painful yet beautiful. I decided that I would no longer let my past dictate my future. I enrolled in art classes, expanded my freelance work, and even started a blog to share my journey from betrayal to healing. Each blog post, written with raw honesty, became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Readers from all over reached out with their own stories of overcoming abuse and heartbreak, and I realized that my pain had, in some small way, become a source of strength and inspiration for others. Slowly I began to reimagine what my life could be. I started planning small trips, solo excursions that allowed me to explore new places and meet new people. With each adventure, I discovered that the world was full of beauty and possibility, and that I was capable of finding joy even after the darkest of betrayals. I learned to trust my instincts again, to listen to the quiet voice within that whispered that I was worthy of love, respect, and a life filled with hope. As I reflect on the long road that brought me to this point, I am filled with a profound sense of gratitude. The day my husband pushed me into that icy waterfall marked the end of one chapter, a chapter defined by betrayal, violence, and shattered dreams. But it also marked the beginning of another, a journey of self-discovery, healing, and the relentless pursuit of a life that is truly my own. I have learned that even when someone you love becomes your worst enemy, you have the power to rise, to rebuild, and to redefine your future with grace and strength. Today I stand as a survivor, a woman who has transformed unimaginable pain into a wellspring of resilience and determination. I have reclaimed my dignity, rebuilt my life, and forged a new identity that is unshackled by the cruelty of the past. Every scar, every tear, is a testament to the battles I have fought and the victories I have won. I now approach life with a cautious optimism, knowing that while the journey to healing is long and winding, every step forward is a triumph over the darkness that once threatened to consume me. This is my story, a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately redemption. My husband's violent act on our first anniversary, the cold, calculated cruelty of his actions, and the subsequent journey through pain and legal battles have shaped me into a woman of immense strength and unwavering determination. I have learned that true empowerment comes not from the absence of pain, but from the courage to face it head-on and to build a future defined by your own worth. Though the memories of that fateful day will always linger, they no longer hold me captive. They propel me forward, a constant reminder that I am the architect of my destiny. As I continue to forge my path, I embrace each new day with the knowledge that I have survived the unthinkable. I have transformed a moment of devastating betrayal into a catalyst for personal growth and self-empowerment. I choose to live boldly, to love deeply, and to pursue my dreams without fear. In the quiet moments of reflection, I honor the strength I discovered in the aftermath of that violent anniversary, a strength that, despite everything, has carried me to a future filled with hope, resilience, and the promise of a life reborn.